The following is a special presentation of Extreme eSpeed TV, your new home for everything iRacing and eSpeed.
Good evening. It is Wednesday night in the Coast-to-Coast Racing Leagues. I am Travis Piercefield, and the Coast-to-Coast Racing Network welcomes you to Coolray Hometown Heroes this Wednesday night as we will get started with our 305 Sprint Division presented by A&J Custom Creations. So we are back at Lernerville. It's been about 3 weeks since Wednesday night Hometown Heroes was here at Lernerville as it bounces between Lincoln and Lernerville this winter season. And now we have the A&J Custom Creations 305 Sprints kicking us off. Of course, looking at those A&J Custom Creation point standings, it's Randy Shreves, your points leader, 8 races in, 1 win, 5 top 5s, 7 top 10s. Patrick Spangler second, Joseph Grandy third, Blake Chapman fourth, and Jeff Flaro moved into the top 5 after week number 8's performance. And that is how they will ride in here to tonight as we get going with another night of Coolray Hometown Heroes. So the cars are lined up, ready to get going, as they will be our first division on the track here tonight. See Dan McLaren out on the track in his 88 machine. He's currently 11th fastest here in this warm-up session. Of course, you're watching our Tim Chapman Racing pre-race show. Kicks us off every night here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Of course, no qualifying here. It's just a pill draw for Wednesday night Hometown Heroes. So we'll head right into our heat races once we do get going. Of course, thank you to everyone who tuned in last week for our Salty Dogs Racing Team Winter Nationals. A great week, great event, a whole lot of fun. John Hine and I called all the championship racing action on Thursday night last week. Of course, John will be back with me tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we'll have Flatline Racing Body's Thursday Night Thunder. Tonight we've got the 305s, the 360s, the 410s, and then of course our Street Stock Enduro to end the night. Tomorrow for Flatline Racing Body's Thursday Night Thunder, we'll have small block and big block modifieds at Knoxville, and then our NASCAR Xfinity Series from out west at Phoenix Raceway. So action continues out there on the tracks. Patrick Spangler out there, Brandon Ishkanyan out there as well, Jeffrey Barker. The usual suspects, as we have 19 cars here entered as of now, as we're about 2 minutes away from getting going with our heat race events.
Good evening, Travis.
Hello, Mr. Craig. How are you tonight?
Not too bad, buddy. You're in here nice and early, and we're not quite ready to roll yet. So I thought I would just jump up. Personally, thank you for covering 2 nights of the charity event and your generosity involved with that as well. And proud to say it here that we raised $1,900 for childhood cancer. So pretty proud of that.
Very cool. I was mentioning how great the racing was on the track, but then also all the generosity off the track, which made just for another great event for the Winter Nationals last week.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, all the teams stepped up for sponsorship, especially Salty Dogs. I'm proud of the team I'm on. They were the title sponsor. But all the teams and especially the drivers, we had an anonymous donor that made $250 prize money donation. Really appreciate that. There's just all the way around, and all our broadcasters, pitched into, and it's just very, very much appreciated.
Well, it was great. Now we're back to racing action, regular week racing action here, Roger. Should be another exciting Hometown Heroes night.
Well, these are just warm. The 305, 360s, 410s are just a warm-up for the street stocks later tonight. So it's always a fun night on Wednesday night.
Well, Roger, you know my thoughts on the street stock division, and these are little appetizers, I like to call them, as we head towards that main meaty course at the end of the night.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, the pull in here with the hauler with 3 sprint cars, but that street stock's all polished up, sitting at the front of the hauler, ready to rock and roll tonight.
Well, it should be good fun. Roger, thank you as always, and it looks like we're about to get to some racing action.
I got to run down, get harnessed in here, buddy, so good luck tonight.
Good luck, Roger. We'll talk to you soon. That's Roger Craig, series promoter and director, owner, all the above here for the Coast to Coast Racing Network and Racing Series. But we have our Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1 lining up over there off of turn number 4. And we've got that starting lineup to kick us off here from Lernerville tonight. Stephen Bixler, Nick Schell on row number 1. GJ Boydell, Joseph Grandy, row number 2. Dan McLaren, Blake Chapman, row number 3. Starting 7th, Brandon Ishkanyan next to Jeff Barker. And rounding out our 10-car field, it's Jeff Flaro, next to the man we just spoke with, Roger Craig. So they will get out onto the track behind that Stephen King Foundation pace truck tonight. So we should have 2 heats here for the 305s. Steven Bixler, Nick Schell will lead us to green here. Of course, heat race number 1 here will set that lineup for the feature on the inside row. Heat race number 2 will set that lineup for the outside row. So they will head down the backstretch here. Should go green next time by 6 laps here for each heat race. No cautions. So all the laps will matter. As it's Steven Bixler, Nick Schell. That pace truck will exit off of turn number 3 here tonight as we go green in Langton Mechanical heat race number 1. Bixler to the inside, 4 right behind him for second as they get out of shape. Now it's going to be that 58 machine of Schell to the inside of Bixler. G.J. Boydell takes a peek to the inside off of turn number 4. It's going to be Schell and Bixler with the momentum. Now Joseph Grandy gets up in there as he now battles for second. 3 wide coming off of turn number 2. They'll get contact. Bixler involved. G.J. Boydell. That's going to benefit Blake Chapman, McLaren, and Roger Craig. As that's now your top 5. Jeff Flaro also snuck by as it's Nick Schell up ahead. Steven Bixler coming back out on the track over turn number 4 there. As now Blake Chapman looks to the inside of Schell. As we're halfway done with Langton Mechanical heat race number 1. Roger Craig in 5th now. As Dan McLaren has made his way past Jeff Flaro. And out front, about a half a lap ahead, is that 58 of Nick Schell. So Bixler, Grandy, Ish Canyon, and Boydell were all involved in that incident. As Nick Schell will get the white flag here at Lernerville. And with 0.6 of a second lead, he will win Langton Mechanical heat race number 1. Blake Chapman second, Dan McLaren third, Jeff Flaro fourth, and Roger Craig rounding out the top 5. So we will get ready for Venom Racing heat race number 2. And as they get lined up over there off of turn number 4, we have your starting lineup. It's Riley Burr, row number 1 next to Mike Kramer. Row number 2, Kurt Schatzer alongside Randy Shreves. Patrick Spangler 5th, Gary Taylor 6th. 7th, John Rayner Jr. next to Donovan Ross. And rounding out this 9-car heat event will be Nathan Aldridge. So the Stephen King Foundation pace truck will make its way back out onto the track with the field behind him. So 6 more laps here for Venom Racing heat race number 2. Riley Burr's sprint car looking very sharp tonight. I like the orange. Got Kurt Schatzer in his traditional colors behind him there on the inside row and alongside Randy Shreves. Also a nice looking sprint car there. So we had the Busch Clash kick off over the weekend. We have the All-Star Sprint Car Series down in Florida. They kicked off last night at Volusia. All of a sudden it feels like race season, both here on iRacing, which has been all winter long, but now with the real world catching up to the rest of us. Many a nights and many a days at tracks are about to happen throughout 2023. So Riley Burr, Mike Kramer will be row number 1 here as we go to racing action for Venom Racing heat race number 2. A Stephen King Foundation pace truck dives on off of turn number 3. Green flag will wave here at Lernerville for Venom Racing Heat Race number 2. Burr's able to go to the front, but Kramer has that momentum. It'll get cut off at the exit of turn number 2. Shreves and Schatzer behind them. They're still side by side for row number 2. Oh, Kramer and Burr made contact. Schatzer's involved. Gary Taylor's clipped as well, as it's going to be Kurt Schatzer coming away with the lead. Gary Taylor, Mike Kramer, Riley Burr will be all towards the back after that contact. Patrick Spangler also caught up in that. As now Kurt Schatzer will move into the lead. He's got Donovan Ross, who started 8th behind him. They have about a second lead over Nathan Aldridge and Randy Shreves behind them. As Gary Taylor's been able to catch up. He currently runs in 6th. He's trying to chase down John Rayner Jr. Great run for Donovan Ross. They're off of turn number 2. He'll look to the inside through 3 and 4. He won't have enough. It's Schatzer with 2 laps to go. Ross again using that momentum from the outside. He'll stay high through 3 and 4 as he tries to chase down Schatzer as the white flag waves. Schatzer's able to separate there through 1 and 2, but Ross will use that momentum. He'll look to the inside through 3 and 4. Slide job out of turn number 4. And at the line, it's Donovan Ross. By 3/100ths of a second, Donovan Ross will win heat race number 2. That will have him starting on the outside front row. And we will move on to our Coast2Coast Speedway intermission session, as cars will get out on the track and prepare for tonight's feature event. So our Coast2Coast Speedway intermission, it's Blake Chapman atop the charts. He's the fastest lap of 14.29. Patrick Spangler second. Dan McLaren third. Nick Schell and Gary Taylor your top 5. So 4 of the top 5 had some incidences during their heat race. So they'll start towards the back of the pack, but obviously some fast cars with speed possibly putting on a show getting up towards the front. So as the clock winds down, Blake Chapman still the fastest. Patrick Spangler second, Dan McLaren third, Jeff Flaro fourth, and Nick Schell fifth, as our Coast2Coast Speedway intermission session will come to an end. And with that, Oswego Speedway intermission will come to a close. That'll move us on to our Super Dirt Car Series starting lineup for our feature event. And they're going to line up like this. Row number 1, it's our heat winners, Nick Schell alongside Donovan Ross. Blake Chapman 3rd, Kurt Schatzer 4th. Row number 3, it's Dan McLaren alongside Nathan Aldrich. 7th, Jeff Flaro and Randy Shreves. And rounding out our top 10, it's Roger Craig next to John Rayner Jr. Starting 11th, it's Jeff Barker next to Gary Taylor. 13th, Stephen Bixler next to Riley Burr. 15th, Joseph Grandy alongside Mike Kramer. 17th, Brandon Ishkanian alongside Patrick Spangler. And rounding out the field 19th, it's G.J. Boydell. So they will make their way out onto the track behind that Stephen King Foundation pace truck. So Nick Schell, Donovan Ross will line up in row number 1. And they will take us to green here 20 laps in our A&J Custom Creations 305 Division feature event. Green flag waves. Good start for Ross on the outside. Schatzer behind him. You have Nathan Aldrich 3rd in line there as they use that outside momentum coming off of turn number 2 to move towards the front. Schell has the lead along with Schatzer as they will clear 4 wide behind them as Nathan Aldrich will move up. And it looks like Patrick Spangler will head off the track and bring out our first caution of the night. You can see he was using that outside line. Barker. Oh, and Spangler just lost it there. Also, John Rayner up ahead of him. So an uncharacteristic mistake there off of turn number 3. But with this track, no walls around the majority of it tends to happen. Something else that we've seen throughout the season when we've come here to Lernerville. Of course, Roger mentioned it. We will later have our Street Stock Enduro here at Lernerville tonight, which also adds another level of difficulty as there is no wall there in the turns and also on the backstretch. Last time the Street Stocks were here, a lot of factors, including that, and then also a lot of the Salty Dogs not here as we go back to green. Nick Schell out front. The sun has come out, peaked but from behind the clouds here as we go back to racing action. 16 laps to go. Schell is out front. Donovan Ross in 2nd. Blake Chapman 3rd as they stay single file up along the outside for the most part throughout the field. Blake Chapman in 4th. A good run there. Oh, and off will go Schell. He will go off the backstretch. That will take Blake Chapman up into 2nd. As now he tries to chase down Ross. As Kurt Schatzer watches on from 3rd. Snell now appears to be in the pit area. And the caution flag will wave for the second time. So you can see that backstretch. There's a lot of real estate back there. As Nick came back up onto the track and Stop there off of turns number 3 and 4. And it appears as of right now, he may have loaded up that 58 machine. But like we talked about, a lot of real estate off the backstretch there. You can't really tell from our vantage point here on the front stretch in the press box. But a long ways to go down if you do fall over that lip there on the backstretch. So the Stephen King Foundation pace truck will exit. Green flag will wave. Our second Mission 22 restart of the night here for the 305s. It's Donovan Ross out front. Blake Chapman trying to chase him down from second. Kurt Schatzer still third. McLaren fourth. Aldrich in fifth. As you can see, Schatzer trying to make his way up towards the front as he continues to watch this battle for the lead up ahead of him. Randy Shreves trying to move up. He's currently running in seventh. He's trying to chase down Jeff Flaro and Nathan Aldrich up ahead of him, as there's been a pass for the lead up there as Chapman had momentum off of turn number 2. He'll get in front of Donovan Ross as now Donovan Ross settles in that second spot, trying to chase down Blake Chapman. So Chapman settles in as the leader now, and our third caution will wave. Looks like Mike Kramer involved with this one. First, we'll take a look at that Chapman pass on Donovan Ross for the lead, as he looked to the inside, through 1 and 2, slid up in front of him, stopped Ross's momentum. And then had the momentum at the other end of the track. Take a look at our third caution of the night. It's going to include Mike Kramer, G.J. Boydell, and Gary Taylor. Oh, you see Joseph Grandy and Taylor got together. Nowhere for Boydell and Kramer to go. But we are halfway. 10 laps to go. Blake Chapman's our leader. As our 305 A&J Custom Creations division marches on here on Cool Ray Hometown Heroes. So Blake Chapman will lead. We'll have 10 to go when we go back to green. Donovan Ross second, Schatzer in third. Another Mission 22 restart. Blake Chapman takes us to green. 10 laps to go. Oh, and he gets into Gary Taylor on the restart. He'll be able to hold on to the lead, and the caution flag will wave. We will take a look at that replay. Not exactly sure, as it looked like Gary Taylor came out on the track after being in the pits right as they were taking the green flag. Joseph Grandy involved. Ooh, someone shot off the track over there. I think that was John Rayner, maybe. So we will try it again. 10 laps. 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 10 So Blake Chapman will restart. He'll hold on to his lead. A good job there. It's obviously surprising contact made, I would say. Apologize in advance. The pollen down here in Georgia went crazy today, so if I make any high-pitched or voice cracking, apologize in advance. Last couple days, I went to yell at my son's baseball practice last night, and I sounded like a teenage boy with my voice cracking, yelling at the team. But we're halfway through 3:05 here. Blake Chapman will take the green. Ross in second. Schatzer in third. Good start for Chapman there as Schatzer moves past Donovan Ross for the moment. Ross will have the momentum down the backstretch as McLaren watches on. Ross teetering on that ledge down the backstretch as he will hold on to second using that outside momentum, but they are all trying to chase down that 20 of Blake Chapman. So Schatzer trying to hold off McLaren while chasing down Ross. Ross will go over the edge in 3 and 4. That'll drop him back. He's to 11th now. That now puts Blake Chapman almost a second ahead of Kurt Schatzer, as Schatzer has second place over McLaren. Flero in 4th. Shreves in 5th. So 5 laps to go, this time by for Blake Chapman. He comes up on the John Rayner Jr. machine. He is now 2 laps down, and the caution flag will wave. Our 5th caution of the night. This one comes out for Mike Kramer. And just gets a little bit too much turn over there in turns 3 and 4. So we have a handful of laps to go. Ross is now running 10th. With Chapman, Schatzer, and McLaren up ahead. Of course, next up we'll have the Salty Dogs Racing Team 360s. Shout out to John Rayner Jr. He is our race control tonight, along with being out there on the track. So the lights are off the Stephen King Foundation pace truck. We're going to go back through another Mission 22 restart. It's going to be Blake Chapman as our latest green flag and all green flags this winter season, presented by Alex and Olivia's Race Against Childhood Cancer. Good start for Chapman. Schatzer as well. He's got McLaren behind him to the inside. Randy Shreves, Jeff Flero, they continue to battle for the 4th spot and now creep up on McLaren for 3rd. Flero has that outside advantage momentum as he'll move up into the 4th spot. Shreves and Burr make contact. Will stay green as it's Blake Chapman up front. 2 laps to go here at Lernerville. The sun is poked back out as it's Chapman up front. He's about a half a lap from the white flag here at Lernerville. Oh, as Ish Canyon stopped, also Kramer stopped on the front stretch. Take a look at our latest caution, our 6th of the night. And just contact between Kramer and Nishkanian. Not sure if there was something more to that. So it will be 2 laps to go, a green-white checkered for Blake Chapman. Green flag waves, Chapman out front. Green flag has waved, so next flag will be the white flag. As Burr, Shreves, and Flero, they continue to battle for the 4th spot. White flag will wave for Blake Chapman out front. Final lap here at Lernerville for the A&J Custom Creations 305 division. Down the backstretch, Chapman will go through 3 and 4 for the final time. And the 305 feature goes to Blake Chapman, Kurt Schatzer second, Dan McLaren in third. So it's Blake Chapman pulling into Lernerville victory lane here for our Coolray victory lane. We, of course, will interview our top 3 finishers here from the 305 division. Joining us first is going to be our 3rd place finisher. It's Dan McLaren. Dan, you worked your way up there into the top 5. Some great battles back there, especially 3rd place on. Kind of walk us through your night to a 3rd place finish.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. Good race, and good job to Blake on the win. But yeah, just committed to the bottom. Wasn't gonna come off of it, but it was. I think it was a good race.
We saw you down on the bottom. Obviously, a lot of guys trying to use that outside. You get the momentum out there, but also you have to balance with staying up onto the track. Was that part of your strategy, staying low, or did you just prefer the low line either way?
Yeah, it's if you're not comfortable running up top, like Flero was trying to get a couple good runs on me, and if that last caution didn't come out, I think he would have got it. But yeah, I wasn't gonna go up there. I wasn't gonna try it.
Well, great run tonight, Dan. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, all the guys at Spartan Racing, VMR Wraps, Wildstar Custom Fabrications, Roger for the league, and you guys for putting on a good broadcast.
Well, good luck, and we hopefully talk to you again soon, Dan. That is our 3rd place finisher, Dan McLaren, here in the 305s. Now joining us is going to be our 2nd place finisher, the 218 of Kurt Schatzer. Kurt, some guys up front had some problems with going over that ledge that put you in the perfect spot to try to chase down Blake. What was the difference between you and him, and difference in getting a win and coming home second?
Oh man, it's no shame to run second to Blake there. I don't think I had anything for him. He's a pro when it comes to these sprints. He's hard to touch. As far as going over, I said goodbye to running that top early in the race and just tried to focus on hitting my marks down low, and it seemed fast for me down there. I mean, it seemed to work.
When you have guys up top using that momentum, you and Dan both kind of stayed towards the middle and bottom part of the track. What does it take to try to compete against their momentum when you're working that inside line?
Just to try to slow it down a little bit in entry and get the thing pointed right and not spin the tires. There's a little bit of tack coming out of two. I was just trying to hold it down and keep my left side tires on it.
Well, it was a great run. You'll come home second tonight. Any sponsors you want to thank, Kurt?
Yeah, I got to thank Dirt Track Bank. They do a lot to help racers all around the country get squared away. And Got Your Six Racing Network with Joe Halter over there. He does a lot for the team. And I got to thank the team, Hammer Down Racing, Brandon Templeton, Brian Dickens, and their Joe Halter. Coast to Coast for putting the league on. You guys for coming out and doing the broadcast, and all the guys that come out and race with us every week.
Well, great run, Kurt. We'll see if we talk to you again later tonight. That is our second place finisher, Kurt Schatzer. And now we head down to Coolray Victory Lane. Our winner in the 305s tonight, Blake Chapman. Blake, strong run tonight. We saw some of the guys up front, including Nick Schell. Also, Donovan Ross have some issues with that outside line. Talk us through what it takes to run up there and make sure you don't fall over that edge.
You got to have experience on this track, and you got to be focused. Those are the two main things in my opinion. Especially when it gets slick, you really got to be locked in. And I had to move off the top in 3 and 4 because I was getting too sideways up there. I didn't feel comfortable running up there, so I had to move my lines around a little bit, and I figured the middle would come in. But it was more of a slider line that really came in for me. I tried to get my 2 front tires in the good dirt going into the corner, and then let it slide up to the slick and hit the good stuff on the exit too. So it's not easy to run the top at this track, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more guys fall off the top of that track tonight.
With Wednesday night hometown heroes bouncing back between Lincoln and Lernerville, kind of walk us through your difference of opinions of the track. Do you prefer one over the other? Does one suit your driving style over the other?
Personally, I like Lernerville a lot more than I've liked Lincoln so far. Lincoln is a new track, so I'm not used to it yet. But yeah, I'm comfortable at Lernerville. I feel like I can run the top there well, and I guess I'm not used to running the top at Lincoln yet. I haven't exactly dialed my car in there for that track, so I definitely favor Lernerville over Lincoln.
Well, a strong start to your Wednesday night, Blake. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to from Coolray Victory Lane?
Yeah, first, my parents and grandparents for watching and supporting, and all the boys down at the Kite Sim Racing Team and the Can-Am Racing Team, and Salty Dogs for letting me hop in their Discord tonight. I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. Valentine's Day's coming up. There's no better way to a woman's heart than some Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. Head over to their website, use code CART, C-A-R-T at checkout for 15% off some of their delicious popcorn. And I got to thank you for putting this on, Travis.
Well, great run tonight, Blake. We'll see if we chat with you again here shortly through the rest of the evening. That is your winner in the 305 division. It is the 20, Blake Chapman. So that will kick off our night with the 305 division here from Lernerville. A&J Custom Creations 305 feature will go to Blake Chapman. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will move on to our next division, the 360 division presented by Salty Dogs Racing Team, right here from Lernerville. You're watching the Coast to Coast Racing Network.
It's Florida in February. Kick off 2023 with the Dirt Car Nationals at Volusia Speedway Park. Sprint cars, late models, and modifieds at the world's fastest half mile. World of Outlaw Sprint Cars and Dirt Car UMP Modifieds February 6th through the 11th. World of Outlaws late models and Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds February 13th through the 18th. Tickets and camping at dirtcarnationals.com. February 6th through the 18th at Volusia Speedway Park. Be there.
Hi, I'm Olivia Olson, Industrial Engineering Junior and club volleyball member here at Penn State. I'm very excited to say that Thon is right around the corner, just a month away. And for those of you that don't know, Thon is the largest student-run philanthropy in the entire world. They're committed to raising funds and supporting those who are affected by childhood cancer. This year, Thon is taking a very different meaning for me. Last March, just as the weather was getting ready to turn, we were all super excited to go play some more outdoor volleyball. One of my best buddies, Jesse King, went home for a routine checkup. Fast forward 60 days later, and he's just waking up from a medically induced coma. 6 months later, he's just being released from the hospital after being diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, kid's a fighter. He made it through chemo, radiation, and he's currently battling his way through extensive cognitive and physical therapies. He's doing great. He's finally letting out some of that personality that we've all been missing for so long. Luckily, the King family, thanks to 4 Diamonds, has yet to see a medical bill. There are a lot of families that can say the same out of all the good that's come out of this. So if you would like to join me and club volleyball in the fight against childhood cancer, please click the link to donate. Any size donation makes a world of difference for the King family and families alike. If donating at this time isn't the best option for you, please, 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 please share this video, because the more eyes on it, the better, and every dollar truly does make a difference. In addition, any thoughts, prayers, good vibes are always greatly appreciated, because we just want our best buddy back at school with us. All that being said, please always remember to never take anything for granted. Tell the people around you that you love them loud and often, and even the smallest acts can make a world of difference. Many thanks and lots of love from me and the club volleyball family and all of those being supported by Thon and 4 Diamonds.
Welcome back to Lernerville Speedway. We have our Salty Dogs Racing Team 360 sprints out on the track as they warm up, and Cool Ray Hometown Heroes moves on. We'll take a look at our A&J Custom Creations point standings here for the 360s. It's Brandon Dittmer, your points leader, 2 wins, 6 top 5s, 7 top 10s. He currently leads by 21 points over Patrick Spangler, Randy Shreves, Blake Chapman up into 4th, and Brian Dickens currently in 5th. As that is your A&J Custom Creations point standings update here for the Salty Dogs Racing Team 360s. So obviously an increase in power here for the 360s. We'll see how that affects this division out on the track here at Lernerville Speedway. See Mike Kramer, he's looking to turn his night around after his 305, some issues there, along with Donovan Ross. Donovan was battling for the lead when he had issues on the track. So looking to rebound here in his Rudine sprint car. And rebound he is. He's currently fastest on the track here in this warm-up session by over 0.2 of a second. Roger Craig comes out on the track. So we count down closer and closer to our Salty Dogs racing team. 360. Of course, no qualifying, no time trials here tonight for Cool Ray Hometown Heroes. They will draw. They will race a couple heat races, and then we'll move on to our feature event. Of course, all our features 20 laps tonight, with the exception of that street stock enduro, which will be 50 laps. Joseph Grandy out on the track, currently second fastest behind Donovan Ross. Grandy's made 15 laps out on the track in this warm-up session. Donovan Ross is working on his 30th lap. Grandy will go off the track. Donovan Ross will complete another lap. So Roger Craig continues making some laps around the track as our warm-up session will come to a close. It's going to be Donovan Ross fastest during this session. And with that, we'll move on to our length and mechanical heat race number 1, 7 cars. And they're going to line up like this. Gary Taylor alongside Stephen Bixler, row number 1. Brian Dickens third, Bob DeGood fourth. Starting fifth, it's Nathan Aldridge next to Joseph Grandy, and rounding out the field in seventh, it's going to be Jeff Barker. So they will wait. And there we go, behind that Stephen King Foundation pace truck. Stephen Bixler, Gary Taylor, a couple salty dogs will lead us to green. It looks like Gary Taylor will drop to the rear. So it'll be Brian Dickens and Stephen Bixler leading us to the green. And they will make their way through 3 and 4 and back to racing action here at Lernerville for Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. Brian Dick and Steven Bixler take us to green. Ooh, Bixler gets up on that front stretch wall. That'll hand the lead over to Brian Dickens. Jeff Barker, contact back in the pack. Joseph Grandy, Jeff Barker, and Bob DeGood all involved. As now it's Gary Taylor up into second. He battles his Salty Dogs Racing Team teammate, Steven Bixler, for second. Brian Dickens comes up on the back of the Joseph Grandy machine. He was a part of that incident on lap number 1 as well. So Brian Dickens has almost a 5-second lead over Gary Taylor and Steven Bixler. There are 4 cars remaining out on the track. Now 5, Nathan Aldridge out there as well. Nathan is a lap down. So spread out throughout the field, Dickens lead now up to 7 seconds over Gary Taylor. Another 3 seconds back to Steven Bixler. Another 6 seconds back to Joseph Grandy. And on this white flag lap, it's going to be the 122. Brian Dickens will coast to victory in our Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. So Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1 comes to a close. So we will move on to our Venom Racing Heat Race number 2. They head out on the track, and they're going to start like this. It's Kurt Schatzer next to Randy Shreves, row number 1. Nick Schell alongside our 305 feature winner, Blake Chapman. Starting 5th, John Rayner Jr. alongside Donovan Ross. And starting 7th, it's going to be G.J. Boydell. So they will get lined up, ready to go. Kurt Schatzer, Randy Shreves, taking us back to racing action here at Lernerville. Green flag waves. Schatzer and Shreves continue that battle. Shreves is going to have the advantage as he has Blake Chapman behind him. Donovan Ross as well. 3 cars that were fast in the 305s. Chapman continues to work that outside line alongside Shreves up ahead of him as they start to pace the field. The front 4 all in that outside line. Shreves almost goes over the edge in turn number 2. Chapman right behind him. Ross in 3rd as they've broken away from Schatzer by about half a second as we're halfway through. Oh, Ross will go over. That'll open the door for Schatzer as now it's a 2-car battle at the front. Randy Shreves and Blake Chapman as Randy Shreves looks to hold off Blake Chapman. Shreve gets a little sideways coming out of turn number 2. That allows Chapman to close up on his back down the backstretch. Chapman now looks to the inside. Oh, and Shreves will go over the edge. That gives the lead to Chapman. Through 3 and 4, it's going to be Blake Chapman, Schatzer, Boydell, your top 3. So Blake Chapman will pick up where he left off in Coolray Victory Lane here in Venom Racing Heat Race number 2. We will now move on to our Salty Dogs Racing Team Heat Race number 3. And they will line up like this. Row number 1, it's Roger Craig alongside Chad Code. 3rd, Patrick Spangler next to Jeff Flaro. 5th, Mike Kramer alongside Barry Goldner. And rounding out the 7-car heat field, Brandon Dittmer. So we'll prepare to go back to green. So Roger Craig and Chad Code will lead us back to green. Green flag waves. Bassman out front. Code will take over. He'll go over the edge in turn number 2. That hands the lead over to Jeff Flaro down the backstretch as Bassman continues to try to battle him. It's Patrick Spangler to the inside. So the ledge will claim another victim here in Salty Dogs Racing Team Heat Race number 2 as it's Jeff Flaro up front. He's got about 0.6 of a second lead over a great 3-car battle for second. Spangler and Roger Craig will make contact. That'll give Spangler the 3rd spot. Brandon Dittmer now, who started at the end of the field, will move on up into the 2nd position. So Dittmer tries to chase down Jeff Flaro up front. 2 laps to go. As they come up to lap traffic. Oh, and Jeff Flaro will go over the edge. That'll hand the lead over to Dittmer as he's coming to the white flag. White flag for Dittmer as he's got a 2.5 lead over Patrick Spangler. As Jeff Flaro is the latest victim. And heat race number 3 will go to Brandon Dittmer. So that will move us on to Oswego Speedway race intermission. As cars start to enter the track, get some laps in. See a freight train of cars headed out towards the track. with that, our Oswegan Speedway intermission session will come to an end. It's going to be Blake Chapman atop the charts, Joseph Grandy second, Bob DeGood third. So Blake Chapman will look to continue his winning ways. So now it's time for our Super Dirt Car Series starting lineup here for the Salty Dogs Racing Team 360 division. And they're going to line up like this. It's Brian Dickens alongside Blake Chapman, row number 1. Brandon Dittmer starting third alongside Gary Taylor. Kurt Schatzer fifth next to Patrick Spangler. 7th, Stephen Bixler next to G.J. Boydell. 9th, Mike Kramer. And rounding out your top 10, Joseph Grandy. Starting 11th is Nick Schell alongside Jeff Flaro. 13th, Nathan Aldridge alongside Randy Shreves. 15th, Chad Code next to Jeff Barker. 17th, John Rayner next to Barry Goldner. Bob DeGood 19th, and Donovan Ross will round out your top 20. Bassman Roger Craig will start at the tail end of the field in 21st. So lined up 2 by 2 behind that Stephen King Foundation pace truck. It is Chapman and Dickens, 20 laps around Lernerville Speedway for our Salty Dogs Racing Team 360 division. And the green flag waves. We're back to racing action here at Lernerville. Blake Chapman, Dickens, front row there. Dittmer looking to the inside. Gary Taylor looking to the outside. Gary Taylor gets out of shape coming off of turn number 2. That'll separate the front 3 as now Gary Taylor and Schatzer try to jump back up into that top 5. Blake Chapman, our 305 feature winner tonight, back up into his usual spot up in first as he's up along that outside of the track. Jeff Flaro re-enters the track over in turn number 3. Dickens leads that first group of cars behind Chapman. It's Patrick Spangler, Brandon Dittmer, and Kurt Schatzer. 17 laps to go as our first caution comes out, and it looks like it is that 34 machine of Gary Taylor. And he'll go over that edge over in turn number 2. We saw Gary have issues over there at the start the first time they went through turn number 2. As they will wait for that Stephen King Foundation pace truck. So they'll get lined back up single file here. 17 laps to go. It's still Blake Chapman in the lead. They'll make their way off of turn number 4. Chapman will mash the gas. Good start for him over Dickens. Spangler in third, Dittmer in fourth. As Dickens battles off Patrick Spangler. Spangler has the momentum on the inside down the backstretch. Spangler will move into second as Dickens tries to chase him back down. And the caution flag will wave for a second time. Looks like Bob DeGood will go up and over in turns 1 and 2, and that will be our second caution of the night here for the 360s. So Chapman looking to go back-to-back to start his Coolray Hometown Heroes this Wednesday. The lights are off that Stephen King Foundation pace truck as we will go back to green here at Lernerville. Green flag waves. Blake Chapman still out front over Dickens, Spangler, Dittmer, and Schatzer. That's your top 5. As we'll have 15 laps to go next time by as Brian Dickens and Patrick Spangler continue to battle for that second place spot. Great battle for second as Dittmer and Schatzer battle for that 4th spot behind them. And with that, our third caution of the night will wave. Looks like Mike Kramer involved. As he'll go around sideways into the infield there. So we're down to 13 laps to go. Blake Chapman continues to lead. Patrick Spangler second, Brian Dickens third, Kurt Schatzer fourth, Brandon Dittmer in fifth. So our third Mission 22 restart of the night here for the 360s. Green flag waves, and Blake Chapman will take us back to green here at Lernerville as Patrick Spangler tries to chase him down. Brian Dickens watches on from behind. Caution flag will wave for a fourth time as we're down to a dozen laps to go here at Lerner. This one we'll take a look at Bob DeGood. It looks like when he came out on the track may have had some issues. So a dozen laps to go. It's still Blake Chapman out front. Spangler second, Dickens third, Dittmer fourth, Boydell now up into the fifth spot. So we've gotten it down to what will be 11 laps when we go green. Blake Chapman continues to pace the field out front. Green flag waves. Good start for Chapman there. Spangler has Dickens all over the back of him through 1 and 2. Chapman and Spangler down to the inside through 1 and 2 on this restart. Chapman now goes to the outside as the caution flag will wave yet again. Gary Taylor bringing it out this time. We'll take a look. It looks like it was shortly after that restart. Ooh, and just got out of shape. Bassman Roger Craig into him as he will go around. Contact between two Salty Dogs Racing team members. So Stephen King Foundation, Pace Truck will prepare to move us back to green. Stephen King Foundation Pace Truck dives on off. Another Mission 22 restart. It's Blake Chapman up front. 10 laps to go now here in our Salty Dogs Racing Team 360 division. Blake Chapman up front. Spangler into second. Dickens third. Dittmer fourth. Boydell. Spangler makes a move. He'll get sideways at the exit of turn number 4. That'll give Dickens the opportunity to the outside for second. Dittmer watches on from fourth. Blake Chapman continues to lead. He's got about a second lead over Brian Dickens. Behind him, it's Dittmer, Spangler, Boydell rounding out your top 5. 7 laps to go, and Blake Chapman has a good 2-second lead over Brian Dickens in second. So Chapman continues to lead. You got to go back to that battle for Dittmer. Is now Grandy's moved past. Oh, and Grandy will go around. He had worked his way up into 4th before he goes over the edge with 5 laps to go. So we're down to a handful of laps to go. So the Stephen King Foundation pace truck pulls on off. Blake Chapman leads us back to green here at Lernerville. 4 laps to go as Chapman, Spangler, Dittmer, your top 3 here in the 360 division. Chapman trying to hold off Patrick Spangler now as they're both up to that outside line through 3 and 4. 3 laps to go for Blake Chapman as Spangler continues to try to chase him down. Great battle from 3rd on back as Dittmer tries to hold off Boydell and Dickens, and the caution flag will wave. Looks like Nathan Aldridge got out of shape right in front of Nick Schell, and that carnage will bring out our 7th caution, another Mission 22 restart coming up next. Of course, up next we'll have our 410 sprint division. Shout out to Steven Bixler. He is our race control tonight here. So Blake Chapman will lead us back another green-white checkered for the 2nd straight race tonight. And for the 2nd straight race tonight, it is Blake Chapman leading us back to that green. Green flag waves. Spangler in 2nd. Good jump for him as he'll close that gap going into turn number 1 on Chapman up ahead. Dittmer not far behind in 3rd. Spangler looks to the inside through 3 and 4. He'll slide up in front of Chapman. Caution flag will wave. This time looks like the 36 of Barry Goldner involved. And just slid up, and over. Stopping there at the top of turn number 2. So that will give the lead back to Chapman, as Spangler had just about completed the pass coming out of turn number 4. So we will go back to green, another attempt at a green-white checkered. So Blake Chapman will lead us back to green. Green flag will wave. Chapman, good start there. Spangler, another good start as he's right on that bumper of Chapman through 1 and 2 again for the second straight time. White flag will wave for Blake Chapman. He separates from Spangler as they'll go around one more time. Spangler, great run off of turn number 2 as Chapman now gets it back going. They'll go through 3 and 4 for the final time. Spangler will make an attempt, but it's Blake Chapman back to back at Lernerville. Spangler second, Dittmer third, Boydell fourth, and Code in fifth. So Blake Chapman will pull into Cool Ray victory lane for the second straight race. And we will chat with your top 3, starting with the third place finisher, Brandon Dittmer. Brandon, Travis up in the booth, got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
So you started third, finished up third, but it was quite a battle to take over that third spot and bring it home on the podium. Walk us through your night tonight here with the 360.
Yeah, the track was a lot different than it had been in the past. There's no really good topside there in 1 and 2. But the bottom, when 3 and 4 went away really quickly, so it was just trying to hold on basically.
You had a couple green-white checkers there at the end. What did you need at the end to get up to Blake and battle him for the win?
To be able to take off on the restarts, just whatever I did, I could get no power down on those restarts. It made it very difficult.
Was there a difference between 1 and 2 and the other end of the track? It looked like some guys could still make that inside line work through 1 and 2, but everyone jumped to that outside or preferred to jump to that outside in 3 and 4.
Yeah, the outside of 3 and 4 really came to about maybe 12 laps in. But it was mainly, completely inside on 1 and 2. I mean, if you had the guts to run up there and risk going over in 1 and 2, good for you, but wasn't for me today.
Well, great finish here on the podium, Brandon. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Just you for the broadcast, Roger for Coast to Coast, Marty for the inspiration on the scheme, Training Wheels Racing. I think that's it for now.
Well, that is your third place finisher, Brandon Dittmer. Now talking to our second place finisher, it's the 39 of Patrick Spangler. Patrick, you started 6th, made your way up to 2nd. Kind of walk us through your eventful charge towards the front there.
Yeah, 360s and Learnerville's probably my favorite track had a less than stellar showing in the 305, so I thought I had a chance at it, but just too many cautions. I had him on, I think, that second to last caution. I got the slider on him, but then I showed him that you just had to be lower in turn 2, and then he blocked it after that last restart. So just a little bit less cautions I may have had.
I was going to bring that up next. When you made almost completed that pass right as that caution came out, what was going through your mind there? Were you frustrated that you showed it there and knew that it'd be hard to repeat it again?
Yeah, Blake's a good driver, and usually he's pretty good at keeping it down low, and he had just drifted high enough where I could get a run on him. And then I knew he would know that that's where I was going next to him, too. And there's just nothing top of turn 2 as a lot of guys were going off. But, yeah, just it was frustrating there to see that caution come out.
Well, great run, Patrick. You bring it home second here tonight. Any sponsors you want to give a shout-out to?
Yeah, just you for always putting on a good broadcast each week. Rod for running the league, Training Wheels Racing, Dittmer and Grandy running with us, and Dad and Uncle back on watching.
That is Patrick Spangler, your second place finisher tonight in the Salty Dogs Racing Team 360 division. And now joining us from Coolray Victory Lane, it's the number 20 again, Blake Chapman. Blake, you go 2 for 2 here. That race had a lot of similarities to the first one. What was going through the track changes out there, and how did it compare to the 305?
It was a little different than the 305s for sure. I feel like the top wasn't there quite as long, and when it did go away, the bottom was there, and it wasn't the middle like it was in the 305s. So I don't feel like a lot of guys are comfortable running the top in 1 and 2. That turn 2 tonight, it's been something else. So again, not a lot of guys have been comfortable running it, and I definitely wasn't after the first couple of laps when it got slick up there. But went down to the bottom, and then I didn't feel comfortable running the bottom in 3 and 4 anymore. It got a little slick down there, so I moved up top. And the cautions, I didn't need the caution with 5 to go, but the cautions definitely helped me there at the end to help hold Patrick off for sure.
We just talked to Patrick about it, and he brought up that restart. He was able to get by you right as the caution came by. What was going through your mind there as you all of a sudden had a real tight battle for the lead?
Yeah, I was happy to see that caution because I just screwed it up really bad in 1 and 2, hitting the bottom there. But I just knew if I hit that right, he wouldn't have enough time to get me with 2 laps to go or whatever it was. And fortunately, I did hit the bottom pretty good there on the last restart, and that's when it counts.
Well, you'll start the night 2 for 2. We talked to you with the 305s. What sponsors you want to give a shout out to for the 360?
Well, I got to thank the Krite Sim Racing Team, the Can-Am Racing Team, and the Salty Dogs for letting me join their Discord tonight. And I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. Head over to their website, use code CART at checkout for 15% off some of their delicious popcorn. I got to thank my parents and grandparents and my little niece Callie for watching tonight. And I got to thank you for putting this on, Travis.
Well, we'll see if we chat with you again here throughout Wednesday night, as that is your winner from Coolray Victory Lane, the number 20 of Blake Chapman. And that will conclude our Salty Dogs Racing Team 360 division here from Lernerville. We're halfway through our Coolray Hometown Heroes. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will have that 410 Sprint division here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network.
It's Florida in February. Kick off 2023 with the Dirt Car Nationals at Volusia Speedway Park. Sprint cars, late models, and modifieds at the world's fastest half mile. World of Outlaw Sprint cars and Dirt Car UMP modifieds February 6th through the 11th. World of Outlaws late models and Super Dirt Car Series Big Block modifieds February 13th through the 18th. Tickets and camping at dirtcarnationals.com. February 6th through the 18th at Volusia Speedway Park. Be there.
Hi, I'm Olivia Olson, Industrial Engineering Junior and club volleyball member here at Penn State. I'm very excited to say that Thon is right around the corner, just a month away. And for those of you that don't know, Thon is the largest student-run philanthropy in the entire world. They're committed to raising funds and supporting those who are affected by childhood cancer. This year, Thon is taking a very different meaning for me. Last March, just as the weather was getting ready to turn, we were all super excited to go play some more outdoor volleyball. One of my best buddies, Jesse King, went home for a routine checkup. Fast forward 60 days later, and he's just waking up from a medically induced coma. 6 months later, he's just being released from the hospital after being diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, kid's a fighter. He made it through chemo, radiation, and he's currently battling his way through extensive cognitive and physical therapies. He's doing great. He's finally letting out some of that personality that we've all been missing for so long. Luckily, the King family, thanks to Four Diamonds, has yet to see a medical bill. There are a lot of families that can say the same out of all the good that's come out of this. So if you would like to join me and club volleyball in the fight against childhood cancer, please click the link to donate. Any size donation makes a world of difference for the King family and families alike. If donating at this time isn't the best option for you, please, 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 please share this video, because the more eyes on it, the better, and every dollar truly does make a difference. In addition, any thoughts, prayers, good vibes are always greatly appreciated, because we just want our best buddy back at school with us. All that being said, please always remember to never take anything for granted. Tell the people around you that you love them loud and often, and even the smallest acts can make a world of difference. Many thanks and lots of love from me and the club volleyball family and all of those being supported by Thon and Four Diamonds.
It's Florida.
Welcome back to Lernerville Speedway. Cool Ray Hometown Heroes marches on as we move on to our 410 Sprint Division here at Lernerville Speedway. As it's division number 3 of 4 here tonight. As our warm-up session continues on. Currently have 13 cars here making the attempt here with the 410s. All 12 cars. The only car not to make an attempt there in warm-ups was Brandon Dittmer. But we will quickly move on to our Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. And that starting lineup is going to look like this. Dustin Sargent starting first next to Blake Chapman. Chapman looking to go 3 for 3 here for feature wins tonight. Roger Craig third, Jeff Barker fourth. Starting fifth, Donovan Ross alongside Patrick Spangler. And starting seventh is Bob DeGood. So Dustin Big Money Sargent will take us to green here tonight in our Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. You can see the sun has gone down. The lights are on, and it is a true night race here for our 410 division. So 410 Heat Race number 1 about to get underway. Stephen King Foundation pace truck is on off. Sergeant Chapman lead us to green. Chapman on that outside line. Head through 1 and 2 for the first time. Sargent will slide up, get into Chapman. Chapman will go up over the edge as Sargent will lose momentum, and that will move Jeff Barker into the lead. Sargent trying to chase down Barker out front now as Patrick Spangler watches on from third. You can see that momentum that Sargent's able to get on that outside line through the corner as he will clear for the lead. Patrick Spangler follows him on up through and around Jeff Barker. Barker quickly falls back to the 4th spot now as the front 3 start to break away. Sargent and Spangler at the front. 2 laps to go here as now Patrick Spangler will make a move to the inside of Dustin Sargent. He'll slide up. A contact made. Sargent goes over the edge now. That will give the lead to Patrick Spangler. White flag waves as Spangler makes his way around. Through 3 and 4, it'll be Patrick Spangler, Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. That will move us on to Venom Racing Heat Race number 2. Venom Racing Heat Race number 2 lines up like this. It's Randy Shreves, Jeff Flaro, row number 1. Starting third, Barry Goldner alongside Nathan Aldrich. And in row number 3, it's Nick Schell next to Brandon Dittmer. So Venom Racing Heat Race number 2 out on the track. It's ready to roll to green. Shreves and Flaro front row. 6 laps will make up Venom Racing Heat Race number 2. Shreves will jump up. He'll slide up in front of Flaro off number 2. That's been a treacherous move here for the 410s. Saw 3 incidences in that first heat off of that as Flaro continues to lead. Shreves tries to chase him down the backstretch. Aldridge, Dittmer, and was Goldner for a moment battle for that 3rd through 5th position. As with 4 laps to go, it's still Jeff Flaro in that 200 out front. Flaro continues to lead as now Dittmer puts the pressure on Shreves. That's a battle for 2nd now as it's a 3-car breakaway out front with 2 laps to go. Evenly matched down the backstretch, all to the high side through 3 and 4. Flaro will take the white flag. Shreves will look to the inside as now Dittmer looks to the outside of Shreves and follows Flaro around the outside. Through 3 and 4 for the final time, they'll make their way around. It's Flaro and Dittmer besting Shreves at the line. Great finish to Venom Racing Heat Race number 2. With that, we will move on to our Coast2Coast Speedway race intermission as we watch cars make their way out onto the track. Blake Chapman is out on the track. He looks to go 3 for 3. One of the drivers trying to play spoiler is that 77 of Dustin Sargent. But atop the charts, it's that 56 of Randy Shreves, a 12.88, besting Ross, Chapman, Sargent, and Flaro, your top 5. And with that, it's going to be Blake Chapman. His hot hand continues. He will end up atop the charts here in our Coast2Coast Speedway race intermission for the 410s. And we will now get them lined up for that 410 feature event. They will line up like this. Row number 1, it's Patrick Spangler next to Jeff Flaro. Row number 2, Jeff Barker alongside Brandon Dittmer. Starting 5th, Roger Craig next to Randy Shreves. 7th, Bob DeGood alongside Nathan Aldridge. And rounding out your top 10, it's Dustin Sargent next to Barry Goldner. Starting 11th, it's Donovan Ross next to Nick Schell. And starting 13th is going to be that number 20 of Blake Chapman. as he looks to go 3 for 3 for sprint features here tonight. If he's looking to do that, he has his work cut out for him, and it will be fun to watch him try to make his way up through the field. So they make their way out on the track behind that Stephen King Foundation pace truck. Spangler and Flaro will lead us back to green. So 20 laps will make up our feature event. Spangler Flaro leading us to green. Green flag waves, and we are back to racing action here with the 410 Sprint Division. Spangler out front, Flaro in second. Barker makes his way past Dittmer through 1 and 2, as Dittmer will battle back off of turn number 2. Caution flag will wave. It looks like it's for Bob DeGood. As he'll go up and over that ledge. Get it back going as we look to head back to green. So they will get lined back up. It's still Patrick Spangler, Jeff Flaro at the front of the field. So Spangler will lead us back to green. Green flag waves. Spangler will lead them back. We'll let the laps recalibrate. I believe there's a couple more laps than 16 to go as Spangler's up front and to the lead. Flaro, Barker, and Dittmer continue to race behind him. That's for second through fourth. Roger Craig watches on as Flaro will go up and over the edge there. We'll see if he's able to. As also Barry Goldner went over the edge in 3 and 4. As the outside line continues to be treacherous around this track. Dittmer now moves into the second position. He'll move around Barker as our second caution will wave. Look like Nick Schell may have been a part of this. Also, Sargent got over the edge and into the pits. Ooh, there you go. There's Sergeant upside down. That's the reason for that latest caution. So we'll get reset here. It's still Spangler up front. Blake Chapman, who's looking to go 3 for 3, is already making his way up as he's currently in the 8th position. So he is slowly making his way up. And with the caution laps and some incidences with guys up front, he is moving up quickly here in this one. So green flag will wave. Spangler will take us back to green. 15 laps to go. Dittmer still in second. Barker third. Roger Craig in fourth. As Roger Craig gets checked up, Flero, Aldridge, Ross, Shreves all keep it going. 14 laps to go now at Lernerville. "13 laps to go now. And Spangler will go over the edge. The leader goes over the edge. That will hand over the lead to Brandon Dittmer, and the caution flag will wave. So we saw Patrick Spangler go over. Donovan Ross also crashed. We will see which one brought out that caution. Because that's the Donovan Ross, and then here is our leader, Patrick Spangler. Up and over turn number 3 and 4. And Spangler and Ross will both go to the rear. That will give the lead to Brandon Dittmer. Barker second, Roger Craig third, and don't look now, but Blake Chapman is now in fourth. Green flag waves for Dittmer. We're back to racing action with a dozen laps to go. As Dittmer leads out front. He's got Jeff Barker behind him. Barker trying to hold off Blake Chapman. Blake Chapman quickly makes work of him through 1 and 2. That outside line for Chapman moves him into second. He's now trying to chase down that 83 of Brandon Dittmer with 10 laps to go as the caution flag will wave. This one appears to be for that 200 of Jeff Flero. As just a little bit too much as he entered turn number 3. So Dittmer will hold on to the lead for now, but he has a fast charging and hot hand of Blake Chapman behind him. We're halfway in this 410 feature event, our fourth caution of the night. Our fourth Mission 22 restart here for the 410s. Blake Chapman started at the tail end of the field in 13th. He's made his way up to second here with 10 laps to go. Green flag waves for Dittmer. We're back to racing action. As Barker will take a look to the inside of Chapman, nothing there as Chapman's able to break away. Down the backstretch, he'll put pressure on Dittmer as they exit turn number 4. Front 2 high up around that entire circumference of the track. Dittmer will go up and over the edge. That will hand the lead over to Blake Chapman. 7 laps to go. So 13 laps down, and Blake Chapman's charge to the front has been completed for now. 6 laps to go here at Lernerville. Blake Chapman, who picked up the 305 and the 360 win, is looking to go 3 for 3 with the sprints tonight here at Lernerville. Spangler goes over the edge over there in turn number 3, which will bring out our latest caution. And Spangler will bring it out. So Chapman continues to lead. Barker's now in second. Nathan Aldridge up to third, Roger Craig fourth, and Nick Shells rebounded up into fifth. Green flag waves for Chapman. He'll jump out with 4 laps to go. Barker and Aldridge trying to chase him down. Chapman 3 laps to go at Lernerville. Barker and Aldridge using that inside line. Chapman continues to use that inside line. Or I'm sorry, outside line through 1 and 2, inside line through 1 and 2, or 3 and 4. Caution flag waves as the leader was about to come to the white flag. This time for the 36 of Barry Goldner. He made contact with Randy Shreves. Around he went over the turn 1 and 2 corner. And now it's 3 for 3 green-white checkered finishes. And 3 for 3. The guy bringing us to the green will be Blake Chapman. So the lights should go off the Stephen King Foundation pace truck this time. Bye. Green flag will wave. Another Mission 22 restart for Blake Chapman. Good jump for him. He'll jump out by about 6/10 over Barker as they go through 1 and 2. Halfway back to the white flag here at Lernerville. It will be Chapman at the line. White flag will wave. Blake Chapman, dominating performance this Wednesday. He will win the 410 feature event. He bests Jeff Barker, Nathan Aldridge, and will go 3 for 3 for the 3 sprint divisions here at Lernerville tonight. He started 13th. By halfway, he was up to 4th, and he completes the charge forward with a win and a visit to Cool Ray Victory Lane. We will chat with those 3 podium finishers here shortly. And then coming up next will be our Flatline Racing Bodies Street Stock Enduro right here from Lernerville. Joining us first will be our 3rd place finisher, Nathan Aldridge. Nathan, great charge up front. You started 8th, end up on a podium. Walk us through your night here at Lernerville.
It opened up. I kept going forward, and the holes were there. The last 3 laps, I was just trying to get an interview. Got a lot of respect for Barker and was just trying not to take him out.
Can you kind of walk us through how the track changed throughout the night? We saw up front, Chapman ended up down on the low side. Where were you trying to run, and where was the track giving you to run?
I've always been a bottom feeder, so for me, it just kind of, when that comes in, it works. The top here is just so perilous. If you miss it by a little bit, you're over the bank and gone.
Well, it was a great run and a great charge forward for you tonight. Podium finish. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Galen's Popcorn, Malcolm's Mills. Other than that, I don't really have any.
Well, great run. Nathan, will you be in the Street Stock Enduro coming up next?
Yes, sir. I think I'm like 5th in points right now.
Any strategy as we leave Lincoln, which has the walls all the way around for you, come here to Lernerville. Does that change your strategy at all?
Not a whole lot. I think the difference in the actual outside pits versus the inside pits makes a little bit bigger of a difference for me. It's harder for guys to come out of the pits and straight line you.
Well, good luck. We look forward to see what you can do in the old Street Stock.
Thanks, bud.
That's our 3rd place finisher, Nathan Aldridge. Now joining us, our 2nd place finisher, the 5:13 of Jeff Barker. Jeff, we saw you run top 5 majority of that race there. Some guys came and went throughout the night. Walk us through your race to a 2nd place finish.
I was just going to go as high as I could without going near the top. It was just going to, I'm not good at this track, and I didn't feel like going down bus shopping.
When you're at a track like this, obviously that outside line claimed plenty of victims tonight. For you, it's just trying to make your laps and just try to stay there and take advantage of that?
Yep, pretty much. It worked for once.
Well, you had a green-white checkered there at the end. Did you feel like you had anything for Blake?
No, absolutely not. Even when he went down to the bottom, that kid's fast. I don't know how he does it.
Well, great run tonight, Jeff. You'll be second. Will we be seeing you in the old street stock next?
Oh no, I don't run those.
All right, so
Thank you, though.
that'll conclude your Wednesday. Great run tonight, Jeff. A great second place finish. That's Jeff Barker. Oh,
Thanks,
I'm sorry, Jeff. Any sponsors you wanted to give a shout out to?
Just Malcolm Mills Mill Writing and Galen's Gourmet Popcorn.
Well, have a great night, Jeff. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks, man.
That's Jeff Barker, your second place finisher. And now joining us again from Coolray Victory Lane, Blake, plenty of time talking here tonight. Talk about your race from 13th to 1st.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got Hard Charger locked up since there was nobody starting behind me. But I think the key was keeping it on the track. I was running that top and it was really fast. I know Dimmer was and Spangler and maybe even Flero was too, and all those guys went off the track. So, it's tough. It's tough when it gets slick and you got this much power. Just one mistake and there goes your lead or your good running position and whatever. But the Coast2Coast Racing League's had these Hometown Heroes 305, 360, 410 Hometown Hero nights for a while, and I've always wanted to go 3 for 3, but I've been close before, but I've never done it before. So tonight, this feels really good, and I know it probably paints a pretty big target on my back for this enduro, but I'll take the 3 for 3.
When you were making your way up through the field, did you feel any pressure, even if it was put on by yourself, of as you were in reality moving up through the field, but also knowing how treacherous that outside line could be?
Yeah, I was looking to push it as much as I could early on when there's still some grip up there because I knew it was going to slick off pretty quick. So I wanted to get as many positions as I could, and then put some pressure on some guys, and hopefully they went off the top of the track, which is what happened. And I didn't feel too much pressure from behind me all night, but yeah, in those last couple of laps, it was getting really treacherous up there, and I just wanted to play it safe, so I went down to the bottom to help secure the win.
Well, it was fun watching you making your way up through. We'll let you give those sponsors another shout out here tonight.
Yeah, my parents and grandparents are watching and supporting. All the boys down at the Kreitzsim Racing Team, the Can-Am Racing Team, and of course the Salty Dogs for letting me join their Discord tonight. They got a big race coming up here, the big one they care about the most. And I got to give a shout out to Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. Head over to their website and use code CART at checkout for 15% off some of their delicious popcorn. And I got to thank you for putting this on, Travis.
Well, and we know you've let others drive the old street stock the last few weeks. It will be you with the Salty Dogs Racing Team tonight?
It will be. I'm going for 4 tonight, Travis.
Well, we'll see what plan the Salty Dogs put into effect to help Blake go 4 for 4. That's your winner here tonight. He'll sweep the 3 sprint car divisions, the number 20 of Blake Chapman. And with that, we will move on to our final event of Coolray Hometown Heroes. It is going to be the Flatline Racing Bodies Street Stock Enduro here from Lernerville. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have Street Stocks on the track.
It's Florida in February. Kick off 2023 with the Dirt Car Nationals at Volusia Speedway Park. Sprint cars, late models, and modifieds at the world's fastest half mile. World of Outlaw Sprint Cars and Dirt Car UMP Modifieds February 6th through the 11th. World of Outlaws Late Models and Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds February 13th through the 18th. Tickets and camping at dirtcarnationals.com. February 6th through the 18th at Volusia Speedway Park. Be there.
Hi, I'm Olivia Olson, Industrial Engineering Junior and club volleyball member here at Penn State. I'm very excited to say that Thon is right around the corner, just a month away. And for those of you that don't know, Thon is the largest student-run philanthropy in the entire world. They're committed to raising funds and supporting those who are affected by childhood cancer. This year, Thon is taking a very different meaning for me. Last March, just as the weather was getting ready to turn, we were all super excited to go play some more outdoor volleyball. One of my best buddies, Jesse King, went home for a routine checkup. Fast forward 60 days later, and he's just waking up from a medically induced coma. 6 months later, he's just being released from the hospital after being diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, kid's a fighter. He made it through chemo, radiation, and he's currently battling his way through extensive cognitive and physical therapies. He's doing great. He's finally letting out some of that personality that we've all been missing for so long. Luckily, the King family, thanks to Four Diamonds, has yet to see a medical bill. There are a lot of families that can say the same out of all the good that's come out of this. So if you would like to join me and club volleyball in the fight against childhood cancer, please click the link to donate. Any size donation makes a world of difference for the King family and families alike. If donating at this time isn't the best option for you, please, 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 please share this video, because the more eyes on it, the better, and every dollar truly does make a difference. In addition, any thoughts, prayers, good vibes are always greatly appreciated, because we just want our best buddy back at school with us. All that being said, please always remember to never take anything for granted. Tell the people around you that you love them loud and often, and even the smallest acts can make a world of difference. Many thanks and lots of love from me and the club volleyball family and all of those being supported by Thon and Four Diamonds. Welcome back to Lernerville Speedway as we march on for Coolray Hometown Heroes. We now have the Flatline Racing Bodies Street Stock Enduro. The A&J Custom Creations point standings for the Street Stocks looks like this. It's Brandon Dittmer, 1 win, 8 top 10s. Randy Shreve 2nd. Jeff Laro 3rd, Nathan Aldridge 4th, and Jeffrey Kemper in 5th. So the cars are on the track for their warm-up. They will quickly get lined up here.
And with that, we will have our Super Dirt Car Series starting lineup. And it will look like this. Randy Shreves next to Blake Chapman. Chapman already 3 for 3 tonight. He looks to go 4 for 4. Jeff Flaro alongside Brandon Dittmer in row number 2. Row number 3, it's Nathan Aldrich next to G.J. Boydell. 7th, Barry Goldner alongside Stephen Bixler. 9th, it's Roger Craig alongside John Rayner Jr. 11th, Bill Calder next to Patrick Spangler. And you can see that pack of Salty Dogs Racing team in the back. Of course, Brandon Dittmer there as well. Up towards the front. As we're about to go action here at Lernerville, 50 laps. Randy Shreve starting up front. Randy is one of those drivers, he and Jeff Flaro tend to get out front, count down some laps early in these. So the highly anticipated Street Stock Enduro Series about to take off. They will make their way through 3 and 4. Green flag will wave. As Chapman, Shreves, oh, round goes Dittmer, Flaro as well, right in front of the pack. 4 Salty Dogs included there. Up front, you got G.J. Boydell, Shreves, and Blake Chapman as they all keep it going straight. 1 lap down here at Lernerville, 49 to go. Roger Craig stuck over there. His teammate Bixler helps him out. As here come the leaders. Roger Craig down over the ledge there. As the Salty Dogs are out there, you got Blake Chapman looking to go 4 for 4. See what he can do here in the old street stock. Missing some of our regulars as Bill Calder goes tumbling off of turn number 3. Here's Jeff Flaro. He's back on the track. He comes on hard over that turn 4 wall. Barry Goldner out there as well. We've seen him win earlier this season. As Shreves and Boydell. Oh, and Jeff Flaro will take out G.J. Boydell there. Flaro gets the worst of that. He's on his lid. Is up front, it's Randy Shreves continuing to be stalked by Blake Chapman. Roger Craig's machine has some damage. Pits are packed here early and busy as Bixler has the leader alongside him. Bixler will take out Shreves. Shreves will save it. He'll get Bixler back. But it will give that Salty Dogs Racing team Blake Chapman the lead. Roger Craig continues. He'll go up in front of Nathan Aldridge. I think Roger got the worst of that. Dittmer's out there as Roger made an attempt at him. Dittmer will go up and over. Miss Stephen Bixler. He'll take outside the racetrack as a lane of choice there. Still watching that 440 or 747 of Bassman Roger Craig. As Dittmer now runs in 7th. Out front, it's still Blake Chapman. 10 laps down. We're 1/5 of the way through. Oh, and Chapman, the leader, will be taken out. That hands the lead back over to Shreves. Dittmer trying to chase him down. Shreves coming up on another lapped car there of G.J. Boydell. Boydell's actually in 3rd. On the lead lap for now, but only by about 30 yards. As Dittmer continues to stalk Shreves. So Shreves continues to lead there. Flaro out there on the track as well. Bill Calder back in the pits. Roger Craig back in the pits. G.J. Boydell passed by Shreves. Goes a lap down. Dittmer trying to follow. Oh, and Boydell will get into Dittmer. Dittmer will keep it straight, though. And now you've got to think Boydell could be on the list for Brandon Dittmer. Blake Chapman's now back into that 2nd spot. He's got Bixler behind him. That's a Salty Dogs Racing Team teammate. Nathan Aldridge makes his way back up onto the track right in front of Blake Chapman. Oh, and Bixler gets 2 Salty Dogs there. There's the leader, Randy Shreves. He makes his way by Chapman. So now it's only Randy Shreves on the lead lap. As Randy continues to tick away the laps, working lap number 18 of 50. You can see Chapman, Boydell, Goldner all 1 lap down. Barry Goldner, a quiet night, which normally is a good thing here in the Street Stock Enduro. He runs in 4th. Now they do get points for incidences here in a good way. So this has been one of the more relatively clean there, as Dittmer will go over the edge in 2. Relatively clean Street Stock Enduro. As mentioned, Lincoln with the walls all the way around it, pit placement in the infield, leaves open some opportunity for some strategic attacks. It's Roger Craig. Oh, makes an attempt, swings and misses at Dittmer. He'll get him there. Unable to spin him as they both continue to wreck through 1 and 2. We'll ride along with Roger Craig as he's on the attack as always. Just misses Dittmer. He'll get headed back down the front stretch there. See if he can make another attack on Dittmer up ahead in that 83. As Roger falls back into the clutches of some of his other Salty Dog teammates. It looks like he'll get in front of Boydell. Boydell will go on the attack now. Around goes Roger Craig. Bixler Flaro will go by as well, as now Chapman is in the lead. Randy Shreves has pitted. We'll see what happened to Randy. Oh, and it was Dittmer that was able to tap him there. Oh, and send him over in turn number 2. So that is how Blake Chapman ended up with the lead. Randy's now 2 laps down into 4th. And that puts Chapman in the lead. Boydell 2 seconds back. Goldner 6 seconds back. So 3 cars here with 25 laps to go, still all on the lead lap and all on the same straightaway. Boydell's back in a hornet's nest as Bixler will take a swing at him. Around goes, oh, and Calder will finish him off in turn number 2. As Boydell will go over. Oh, there's Goldner taken out by a Salty Dog. Salty Dog goes tumbling down the backstretch. Boydell's still trying to get back up on the track. Goldner's back out on the track. Chapman continues to lead. He's got a lap on the field. And he is coming up to the rear of Goldner. As he now has Shreves behind him. Shreves now up to 3rd. Shreves will get 1 lap back here once he completes this pass on Chapman. Of course, Chapman's looking to go 4 for 4 tonight. He won the 3 sprint divisions. "20 laps to go." Nathan Aldrich over there with Bill Calder. As Bill has dropped the hammer on some guys tonight. As he makes his way around. Looks like he's on the attack of Jeff Flaro up ahead. Bixler not far behind. Goldner and Boydell are ticking away the laps, trying to make up some ground, as is Randy Shreves. Randy Shreves going around the 83 of Brandon Dittmer. Dittmer will cut him off there. Both of them will come off the track. Dittmer will get the worst of it, though. Is Shreves able to keep going as he fights off Blake Chapman, trying to put Shreves another lap down. Slowly down to 17 laps to go. As Dittmer and Roger Craig continue their battle. Dittmer there back on the track. So Barry Goldner gets back on the lead lap as Blake Chapman had to pit. See what happened to Blake there. Oh, Roger Craig, Salty Dog on dog crime there. And then Dittmer will push him off into the pits. As that will hand the lead over to Barry Goldner. As he has Randy Shreves. That's a battle for the lead. We've got 14 laps to go, and that is the battle for the lead. As Shreves will take out Goldner for the lead. Now he'll get into the back of Bill Calder. As Calder will try to fight back, won't be able to. He'll go around. So it's Shreves, 2 seconds back is Blake Chapman. 3.5 seconds back is Barry Goldner. 12 laps to go here at Lernerville, as Randy Shreves has the P1 spot, and this is about the point of the race where that becomes a very large target on your back. Randy has finished in the top 10 all season long here in the Street Stock Enduro. He's ran up front, but he is unable to pick up a victory in the streeter yet. You can see Blake Chapman not far behind, about 2.5 seconds. Bill Calder gets hit by Boydell. Boydell still in 6th. A lot of points for him coming from being on the attack tonight, you've got to think. Watching Dittmer now as he comes up on Bixler. Gets into the back of him. Now body slams the side of him. Bixler will try to take him out, unable to do so. As Dittmer will continue to try to chase down Barry Goldner. Dittmer is 2 laps down. The front 3 led by Randy Shreves. Oh, there's Roger Craig. He's back on the track. Randy Shreves leads Blake Chapman, Barry Goldner, all on the lead lap, all within 5 seconds of each other. As we have 7 laps to go, 6 laps to go this time by for Randy Shreves. Roger on the backstretch. He looks like he's getting ready to go on the attack. As Shreves goes by, Blake Chapman trying to avoid his Salty Dog Racing teammate. Bixler just misses the leader. Calder, will get into Shreves, but Shreves will keep it going straight. Chapman goes around the outside. He is able to close up the gap as it's now under 2 seconds and getting less by the second. 5 laps to go. Randy Shreves leads. Jeff Flaro just came back out on the track. Oh, and he will take out Shreves right in front of Chapman. Chapman will take it over with 4 laps to go. So Blake Chapman of the Salty Dogs Racing Team, 3 laps to go this time by, looking to go 4 for 4 as he makes his way around Nathan Aldrich. There's a Salty Dog there. He'll maneuver around 2 laps to go now. Makes his way by Bixler. Plenty of Salty Dogs out there to protect him as Randy Shreves is 4 seconds back. Goldner's back 15 seconds. Looks like Goldner's had some issues. He might be over the edge there. White flag will wave. There's Roger Craig. That's Goldner in 3rd up ahead of Blake Chapman. He's about a half a lap of sweeping Coolray Hometown Heroes. Makes his way out of turn number 4, and it's Blake Chapman 4 for 4 on Wednesday night. Shreves 2nd. Barry Goldner making his way around. He'll end up 3rd, all on the lead lap. Boydell 4th. So we will talk to Chapman, Shreves, and Goldner here shortly, as it's Blake Chapman in victory lane here at Lernerville again. As we wait for that front 4. to join us up here in the booth. What a Wednesday night for Blake Chapman. He will go 4 for 4. Roger Craig joins the picture there for the podium finishers. And we'll get joined first by our second place finisher. It's Randy Shreves. Randy, we normally have you down for the guy that'll get us going, count down some laps. It looked that way here tonight. Just comes up short. How frustrating is it to get towards the end there and then lose your chance?
Yeah, it was pretty frustrating at the end. You know, I managed to, keep my car in there and up front, and then there at the end, just everybody was out to get me, and I just kind of was trying to stay out of all that and just finish, at least on the podium, top 5. That's all that really matters. Hopefully that helped me on my points, but we'll see. It's always fun.
How closely there at the end? You had 3 of you there. You, Blake, and Barry all there on the lead lap. How close of attention are you paying to that as the laps are winding down, especially with the last 10 to 15 laps to go?
I don't know. It was just it's just one of them things where you just got to be cautious the whole time and make sure there's not somebody hiding on the other side of the wall, which that happened a few times. And I don't know where they were hiding, but they had a pretty good hiding spot. Jumped out at me a few times, and that probably cost me. But I'm just glad to finish up here.
Well, it was a great run. Always fun to watch, Randy. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to thank my team, LGR Motorsports, Alex Bergeron at ABR Setup Shop, Coulter West at Redline Race Design, One Wish Foundation, Wraps and Stitches, KSB Builder, Finish Line Repair, Coast to Coast for always putting on this awesome league, you for the broadcast, and everybody for watching.
Well, great run tonight, Randy. That is your second place finisher, the 56 of Randy Shreves. Now joining us up in the booth, it's the 36 of Barry Goldner. Barry, it really came down to you, Blake, and Randy, and it looked like you might be the favorite at one point. Walk us through that finish there and how dangerous it gets as the laps count down.
Yeah, I noticed I was up there in the lead for a few minutes, and I was right behind Blake for a long time, and then I seen Randy coming up there, so I knew it was going to be a good battle. It was actually fun.
How crazy is it for you in the car when you've ran 30, 35 laps and there's 3 of you all on the lead lap within eyesight of each other? Are you paying close attention to that, or what are you trying to do when you're in the moment there?
Yeah, I'm trying to pay attention to them and then see what's coming up. You know how them salty dogs like to attack whoever's out front, so I try and pay attention where they are and see if I can take advantage of that.
Well, it was another fun run and a good run for you, Barry. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
I always want to thank Bandy Belt and all my team guys. They always help me out a lot, and congratulate to Blake and Randy. We had an awesome night tonight.
Well, great run, Barry. It was fun watching you tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. Have a great night.
That is your third place finisher, Barry Goldner. And now joining us again from Coolray Victory Lane, it's Blake Chapman. Blake, was that the hardest one to get tonight?
Oh, I knew it was going to be, Travis, and it was. The game plan was to get out in front, stay out of trouble, and have the Salty Dogs take care of the rest, and they definitely did that. I feel like I got into it with the Salty Dogs more than the other cars out on the track, but that's because they were just trying so hard to take the guys out around me. So, man, it's always a lot of fun. And, I guess I got to thank Jeff Flero for taking out Randy, who was leading with 5 to go as well. That was huge for me, but it's just a lot of fun every week coming out here running this Enduro.
What's it like knowing you have that safety blanket of 4 or 5 other salty dogs out there that are intentionally looking out for you?
Oh yeah, it's great. And I was thinking during the race, I'm like, I just feel I probably feel so much better than these other guys that don't have any other teammates out there looking out for them and taking other guys out. So I mean, I couldn't do it without those salty dogs. I can't thank those guys enough.
And then so we had three of you. You, Randy, and Barry were all on the lead lap, all pretty close to each other, even up there till the end. When you're either in the lead or up towards the lead and the laps are counting down and you know that target's on your back, what kind of do you get nervous? What kind of feelings are you having out there that maybe is different than a normal race?
Oh yeah, I'm really nervous and my head's on a swivel. I'm looking for people to come flying out of the pits trying to take me out, and guys coming out of the infield. It's a scary feeling, but especially leading with 2-1 to go, it's like, okay, who's coming at me now? So it's definitely a really scary feeling, but man, I'm just glad to pull this one off.
Well, it was a great night, Blake. It was a lot of fun watching you go 4 for 4 tonight. We'll let you have the final word and thank those sponsors one more time.
First and foremost, gotta thank my parents and grandparents for watching and supporting. I gotta thank the boys down at the Cried Sim Racing Team, the Can-Am Racing Team, and of course, wouldn't be able to do it without the Salty Dogs tonight. I gotta give a shout out to Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. Head over to their website and use code CART CART at checkout for 15% off some of their delicious popcorn. And I can't thank you enough for putting this on, Travis.
Congratulations, Blake. That is Blake Chapman. He goes 4 for 4 this Coolray Hometown Heroes. And with that, we will shut it down here from Lernerville Speedway. Another exciting night of the Coast-to-Coast Racing League action. Another fun night here on Coolray Hometown Heroes. We'll take you out with those salty dogs having a little fun with Ditmer's 83. We appreciate you for tuning in as always, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night right here on the Coast-to-Coast Racing Network. I am Travis Piercefield. Have a great night, and we will see you at a track again soon.